Dam was the most beautiful girl in the village of Dama. She was the only daughter of a wealthy king, and her beauty shone like the full moon over the village. Everyone who saw her couldn't stop talking about how beautiful she was. But Dam wasn't just beautiful, she was also a smart and successful merchant. She traveled to faraway places, trading goods and bringing wealth to her family. When it was time for Dam to get married, everyone thought she would choose a rich man like herself. But to everyone's surprise, she married Obesai, a poor carpenter. Obesai was kind and loved Dam with all his heart, but he was as poor as dry land during the harmattan season. In Dama, there was a tradition: if a woman was wealthier than her husband, she became the head of the household. This meant that Dam made all the decisions, and Obesai had to follow her lead. Even though Obesai loved Dam, he often felt small next to her. He did everything she asked without complaining, but deep inside, he wished he could be more than just the man who followed her orders. Dam was happy traveling for business and making money, while Obesai stayed home, quietly wishing for a change. Obesai was a hardworking man who spent his days shaping wood, but life at home wasn't easy. His friends teased him, saying, "Obesai, you're more like her servant than her husband. Do you even remember what it's like to be the man of your house?" Obesai would smile weakly, but their words hurt him deeply. At home, his responsibilities were endless. He cooked meals, swept the floors, and washed Dam's clothes while she was away on business trips. He never complained, but inside, he felt like a leaf blown around by the wind, with no control over his life. As time passed, Dam's business trips became longer. At first, she would leave for only a few days, but soon, her trips stretched to weeks. Obesai found himself sitting alone, feeling like a shadow in his own home. When Dam returned, she only talked about her business deals, the money she made, and the new places she had been. She barely looked at Obesai, except to give him more chores. "Obesai, clean the floors. Obesai, wash my clothes," she would say, and he would do it without a word. But inside, his heart ached. He wanted to ask her why she was gone so long, but every time he tried, the words wouldn't come out. Years passed, but their home remained quiet without the laughter of children. In the village, children were seen as the greatest blessing, but Obesai and Dam's house felt empty. Obesai longed for a child to bring joy to their home. Every time he saw other men playing with their children, his heart grew heavier. When he brought up the topic with Dam, she would brush it off and say, "There are more important things to worry about." But for Obesai, the silence was unbearable. Unknown to Obesai, Dam had a secret life in another village. She was married to another man, a powerful leader named Anak. Anak wasn't as wealthy as Dam, but he was respected and feared in his village. Unlike Obesai, Anak ruled his household with authority. Dam married Anak not for love, but to grow her business using his influence and connections. However, Anak wanted a child too, and like Obesai, he had been waiting for years. One day, Obesai visited the village herbalist, hoping to find answers about their childless marriage. The herbalist closed his eyes and chanted softly, then said, "Your wife's womb is locked." It was her husband who cursed her. Obesai was shocked. "But I am her husband," he whispered, confused. The truth hit him like a storm. Dam had another life, another husband. Weeks later, Dam returned home, but something was different. She no longer walked with the grace of a queen. Her face was marked with bruises, and the fire in her eyes was gone. For the first time, Obesai spoke up. "What happened to you, Dam?" "Who did this?" he asked, his voice filled with worry and anger. Dam looked away, refusing to answer. Obesai's concern grew into suspicion. Meanwhile, in the other village, Anak was growing restless. Dam had been gone too long, and rumors spread that she was in Dama village. Furious, Anak set out to find her. When he arrived, he stormed into Obesai's house and confronted Dam. "What are you doing here, Dam, in another man's home?" he roared. Obesai, finally understanding everything, stood his ground. "This is my house, then Dam is my wife," he said firmly. Anak's anger boiled over. "Your wife?" "She is my wife," he shouted. The villagers gathered around, shocked by the confrontation. The truth spilled out: Dam's womb was cursed by her first husband, and she could never have children. The villagers murmured in disbelief. Dam, once admired, now stood in shame. Her secret was out. Obesai spoke with sorrow. "Dam, I loved you and trusted you, but you've deceived me for years. I can't be your husband anymore." Anak, filled with rage, said, "You dishonored me. You can't be my wife anymore." Dam had lost everything. With her head bowed, she packed her belongings and left the village. The people who once admired her now turned away in disappointment. She walked away alone, with nothing but regret. Obesai's life slowly healed. He married a kind and honest woman who brought love and laughter into his home. Soon, they were blessed with a child, filling their house with happiness. The villagers celebrated with him, saying, "Obesai has seen hardship, but now he has found joy." As Obesai held his child, he felt peace at last. Meanwhile, Dam's once grand life had crumbled, leaving her with nothing but the silence of a village that had turned its back on her.